Hello Tarot fans and welcome to another edition of Blue Sicx Tarot. I'm your fantastic host Blue Sicx. Thank you very much for watching. Now before I start the video, I have to confess something. I'm not really into cats. Dun dun dun. I'm more of a dog person. I mean, I don't mind cats, but they're not exactly, they wouldn't be my pet of choice. Probably like in my top 4, 5, but they're not really my most favourite. So, if you want, you can leave a comment below telling me how wrong I am. And whilst you're there, you can also like and subscribe and follow me on the social medias. But the reason I bring this up is because, slightly biased, but at the same time, I still think it's prescient to bring up. So I've chosen this deck this month because it's Black History Month and I don't usually talk about that as much as I do with LGBT stuff, so I thought this deck would be perfect. So without further ado, roll on that intro. First we take a look at the box. So the creator on the front, Karine Kayandel. I may have mispronounced that, but I do apologise if I have. So first thing you'll notice is that it's mostly just the artwork of the deck itself, rather than it just be an interpretation of what the deck is going to be. So you know what you're going to get with this deck purely from the cover, and the fact that the artwork is allowing the deck to speak for itself rather than just over decorate the box. And not that there's anything wrong with a nice bit of over decoration. And this deck is also brought to us by US Game System, so it's one of the rare decks I have that isn't from the Scarabeo. But obviously on the front, a nice woman in nice ornate jewellery and a nice cat on the front there. Now we've got a man on the side. I think he's one of the court cards. Can't remember which one, but throughout this deck there is going to be obviously cats in each with each card. Now this with the Everyday Witch Tarot, there's about 5 cards that don't actually have a cat in them, but obviously this one has different breeds and species of cats throughout. I'm not great with cats, so I wouldn't be able to tell you the actual, the breeds of them. But this deck itself is more the stand sort of size, about 5 inches by 3. So let's take a look at the majors. Now, I'm kind of breaking up a bit now, so instead of just showing you some of my favourite cards and just have the same card from each deck, it's just I'm now just picking which looks good regardless of which card it actually is. So first off, we'll take a look at the back, and it's one of those really nice backs where you can have it upside down and not really know. So if you are a person who likes to do inverted readings but not know the card is inverted, you got it right here. So we'll take a look at the first card, which we have, which we have the Hermit. Now, I like the Hermit in this one. So instead of on the peak of a mountain, he resides in a cave with all his little cat friends. I like the style of lantern he has there as well. So it's not just like a standard one; it's quite nicely decorated. It does kind of have that feel more like it's not just ornamental but ceremonial. So it's not just like a standard oil lamp or anything like that, but it does feel like there's a bit more gravitas to the lantern itself, and the staff looks pretty cool as well. So next we take a look at the Devil, and I quite like the look of this one because first of all he's got the cat eyes, and the horns are part of the helmet, which I think is quite nice, and the fact that he's mostly in darkness I think is quite interesting. But it doesn't necessarily have the same classic feel, so there is kind of more of like a evil villain vibe to it rather than just the concept of either like temptation. It does feel like it has, like it has a feeling more of anger and power and dominance, but not necessarily anything really to do with like self-restraint or anything. And even the two cats at the bottom don't look necessarily aggressive or even cowed, but then they're cats, you know. So next we take a look at the tower. Now the tower I chose because, first of all, that is a really cool ornate. That's a really cool cat statue, and the fact it's a cat statue rather than just like a standard building makes it feel pretty unique in that sense, rather than just it being a standard building and people with cats falling. So obviously you got a cat at the bottom there. You also got a nice little entrance at the bottom, and the the art style I think is pretty good, pretty cool. I think don't quote me on this. I think it's kind of like, it feels like a 30s full like a 20s and 30s art style by how it's done. So the tower does look pretty cool. As I said, I'd probably, if I came across this, if I was more into cats and I came across this sort of figurine statuette, I'd probably buy it. It does look quite nice. And the fact that the disaster coming out of nowhere is just looks more like a meteor or a comet's hit it, rather than just like divine intervention, I guess. So now we take a look at the moon. Now, I chose this one because, first of all, you've got what I think is a lynx or something like that. So, I like the cat in this one. It's quite large, but really nice, large padded feet, and it has that feeling of, and with the person involved, it has that kind of moon worship, or at least a kind of kind of like a lunar ritual, you know. So they're out there because it's a crescent moon and it's either waxing or waning, and it's kind of like their time to do a particular ritual, which I think is quite nice. There's a kind of ritualistic feeling to it. So next we have rejuvenation, and which kind of has more of a reincarnation sort of feel rather than a judgment day. So this person here, they don't necessarily look like an angel, but more just like a light bringer, something, I guess, less magical but less divine, I guess. But I still think that one looks quite nice. And once again, the cat's rejoicing, and one would assume the spirits of the past cats are heading off. So whether it's the idea of it being heading off to a new life, like in a reincarnation, or going to the next level, it's not particularly clear. Now, once again, I don't really tend to read the books when it comes to decks, because I do just like the feeling of them, really. But anyway, so now we take a look at the aces. So first of all, we have the Ace of Cups. Now, also the fact that this person does, so a lot of these, some of these kind of come across as either gender non-specific. I would say that's a woman, but could just say more like an effeminate man, kind of like a non-binary thing going on there, but androgynous, that's the word. But yeah, so this one does have that cool element of curiosity and wonder with how they're looking into the cup itself, and just the floating cat at the bottom there, I think looks pretty cool. And so with these, the people in these feel more like court cards rather than aces. So with this one, we have the Ace of Swords. So we've got a really cool, I really like the shield in this. The sword design I think is quite interesting as well, where it's thinner at the top and then wider, thinner in the middle and wider at the top and bottom. But yeah, so I said these do have like a stronger feeling than just here is a sword, here is a cup. So I said they do have the feeling of, they do have more of a feeling of court cards. So next we have Ace of Wands. Now I'm not quite sure what's happening here. I'd probably say it looks more like the cat is coming forth from the fire, in a, like as they're being, like if they're being summoned rather than sacrificed. And the staff, and I think the wand, I think looks pretty cool there, with the kind of ornate patterns at the top there. And so obviously throughout this, the colours are kind of very muted, but there's once again more of a lot of shading, and so the colours are bold, but the artwork and the colour palette, it does quite stand out to me. Then we've got the Ace of Pentacles. I love the cat down here that just doesn't like it gives a monkeys, just does not care. But the robe that this person's wearing as well looks quite nice and ornate, very nicely decorated as well. So as I said, these feel like they have more of a character than your standard aces. And then let's take a look at the court cards. Sorry, the minors. So once again, I just pick one minor from each suit. So we've got the 9. So in this one, we've got the 9 of Swords. Now, this doesn't have the standard Rider-Waite feel to it. So I wouldn't necessarily say that this person is feeling like they're trapped in a nightmare or anything like that. But it does feel like they're dealing with negativity, or the feeling of surrender, or even the feeling of a hollow victory, similar to the traditional 5 of Swords. But this doesn't have the same feel as the standard 9. But once again, it does feel quite impactful. And I'm going to keep talking about it. I love the outfit there. The helmet and the dress and the headdress around it, I think looks really nice. So next, take a look at the 6 of Pentacles. And so for all you cat lovers, this is a very cat lover heavy feeling of the card. So I always get, it's always had that feeling to me of charity, giving to the needy, and nothing kind of represents that more than just a person with a large bowl of cat food giving it to a whole bunch of really hungry looking cats. So this just has a lot of heart to it. As I said, I'm not a cat person, but I love this one. This one does look good. Now a lot of the artwork in this does feel like something you could have up on your wall, which I always consider like a bonus when it comes to themes of tarot decks. So next we have the 4 of Wands, and there's a nice comforting feeling to this. This guy is proper chilled. He has his musical instrument. His wands are just laid on the side, and the cats are just having a nice chill time. So this one has it's just you can kind of feel the warmth that he's feeling in the midday sun, or even in the evening. Who knows? But it does have a nice chill vibe, and just kind of, this person's relaxed and they're having just enjoy a nice time enjoying life. Now we look at the 10 of Cups. And once again, it is that feel. It does give off that feeling of everyone's happy, a great feeling of contentment. There's nothing more they want. They have exactly what they need and exactly what they want. They just want comfort, love, and hugs, and even the odd scritch here and there. And let's be fair, we all like a good scritch. Now we'll take a look at some of the court cards. So I'm going to take a quick look at the Page of Wands. Now once again, the cat looks lovely in this, and that kind of has a feeling of more like a raincoat to me. But then I think it's probably more the fact it's blue. But again, there's a lot of really cool ornate decorative jewellery at the top there, and just really nice. I would own a lot of these clothes. Not that that really means much, but also the large feather on the top of the helmet there as well does have that feeling of grandeur. Like this person, like the feeling of this person is important there. They're destined for great things. They're destined to become the knight and then the king and queen. But yeah, this does have that kind of the great feeling of inspiration and starting to work towards great things. So next we have the Knight of Cups. Now the Knight of Cups is one of the knights I quite like. I mean, to be fair, there's only 4 to choose from, but he is one of my favourites. I like the fact he's on a tiger as well, kind of a big chunky tiger. So they're not shy about proportions on this. But yeah, and the fact that he's kind of, that it's either heat coming from the cup or energy or just blessings. The fact is, he's out there, he's willing to give this to someone, to give his chalice to someone, but waiting for the right person to accept it, which I think a lot of us can totally feel. Next we have the Queen of Pentacles, and now in a lot of decks the Queen is the most. The Queen of Pentacles is sometimes usually the most ornately dressed, because about the concept of it being financial. And this Queen here, she is doing pretty well for herself. The red feels quite rich, and I don't, not necessarily monetarily, but just more of it does feel very strong, especially in contrast to the blue background. So it does feel very strong, and she does feel like she is a woman of power and of influence. And the fact you've got the coins along the outside of the edge of the robe as well is really cool. Nice little leopard in the background there. The staff with the coin at the top, I'm not that impressed with, but then I'm so drawn to the red robe that I can't really focus too much on the dark purple. The headdress as well also looks really cool. So we'll take a look at the King of Swords. I like the fact it's kind of got like a leopard jaguar. I think, well, I said I'm not very good with cats, and his attire does look really good. I think I own something similar to that. This is something that Prince would have worn, I think, or as it's formerly known as. Yeah, he once again, he does have that feeling of command and power, but not necessarily in the same negative connotations as the standard King of Swords. He doesn't necessarily, he feels like he's a man of logic, but doesn't put emotion in, but doesn't allow emotion in, but at the same time it doesn't necessarily have that coldness that some of the traditional King of Swords have the feeling of. But I do like that one. This is probably one of the more positive looks upon with the swords. A lot of them kind of lean very heavily on the negative, so that's just my opinion. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Once again, don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and links to all of my social medias are linked in the description, and I'll catch you all on the flip side.